Today is May the 3rd, 2017. I am in Stillwater, Oklahoma on the campus of Oklahoma State University. My name is Tanya Finchum. I'm a librarian here at OSU, and I am here to speak with Ken Murray. And this is part of our Stillwater African American project, and we'll be finding out all sorts of things today. He started here in it was called the Union Barbershop at that time in 1969. So thank you for having me today.
You're welcome.
Let's begin with having you tell us when and where you were born.
I was born Stillwater, Oklahoma, 1938.
Okay. At home or in the hospital?
What I was told was the hospital.
Okay. And you have brothers and sisters?
I don't now. All of them are deceased, but I had 3 sisters, I'm sorry, and 4 brothers.
And where were you in the lineup?
Baby.
Oh, the baby.
I'm the youngest. Out of
You
all
never
my
got any
siblings,
trouble
I'm
then?
left. I'm the only one left out of all my siblings. Yeah, out of all of them.
Hmm. And what did your parents, tell us a little bit about your parents.
Well, my dad, I don't know what his job was, but I did hear that he worked for the WPA. And my mom was I think she worked outside the home, like in housework, outside the home.
Okay. And were your grandparents here in Stillwater?
I didn't know my grandparents at all. I saw pictures of them, but I never knew my grandparents.
Had they already passed or just lived somewhere?
They had already passed. As I said, I was the
baby.
baby. So, you know, my brothers and sisters may have known them, but.
Well, were they from Stillwater or had they moved here? Your grandparents?
I don't know.
Don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how your family came to be in Stillwater.
Well, I don't know how they got here. My dad was from Alabama, I heard, and my mom was from Texas. And you know, I don't know how they got here, just Oklahoma, but.
Well, your oldest sibling, were they born in Stillwater?
I think all my siblings were born in Stillwater.
So the family has been in the area for quite some time then.
Right.
And Mr. Murray, do you mind, so that we can kind of track some of the families, telling us the names of your brother and sisters?
Yes, it was Luther, George Jr., Julius, Amo, and myself. Well, I better go. I better include the girls. I better include the girls. Well, that's the boys.
Okay.
And myself, that was the boys.
Okay.
And the sisters were Lula, Verla, and Frida was the girls.
Okay. Well, at home, when there was things to do, did they separate the chores from the boys did the boys' stuff and the girls stayed in the kitchen?
Well, you know, I was so young, I don't know. I didn't have any chores. I was the baby. I was mama's, you know, I got all the privileges. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have any chores.
And you didn't get any trouble?
I got in trouble a little bit. But, and I was only 2. Mom was telling me to get out of the way. You know, get out of my way, because I was really a mama's boy. I mean, extremely mama's boy. And I just have to get out of the way. She just give me, the cake pan and tell me, go in the corner till I finish dinner.
And what was her first name?
Eula.
Beulah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Eula. And my dad's name was George.
Okay.
Yes.
And where did you live when you were just growing up?
Well, the family lived in South Stillwater, across Stillwater Creek, I heard. I think I was born in South Stillwater on 13th and West.
Okay.
13th and West.
And when you started school, were you still in that address?
I was still at that address. Mhm.
And what was going on around that house? Were you other neighbors or?
Yeah, it was the neighborhood.
Okay.
It was it was just the whole neighborhood, the whole section was neighborhood. So.
And how much older was your next oldest sibling? Like if you were the baby, was there 2 years difference or?
My sister was, I think, 2, 3 years. I want to say maybe 3 years older.
Okay, so and another reason why you were really the baby.
That's right. That's right. I always heard, well, you was a mistake. Well, not so much, but I'm glad I was, so.
Yeah, a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember much about the house?
Yes, yes. Of course, what I remember from the time that I could really remember, all my brothers and sisters were pretty much gone except maybe one brother and one sister. And everybody else had either married or moved away.
So do you have to share a bedroom
With my mom.
with your mom?
Well, I mean, I'm just, I was such a baby. I just, after I got maybe too big to be in her bed, then I got a little cot on the side, just so I could be close to mom.
Close to her.
Yeah, I needed that protection.
Well, did she walk you to school and went first grade?
Well, no. I think maybe my sister may have, because we were all going to the same school. So when I was, going to school, then I would just go with her. But it was hard. It was hard. It wasn't anyone like mom, to take me to school with my sister. I trusted her enough.
And she would tell on you if you did.
And she did a lot. Yeah, she did a lot,
Where did you go for the first grade? What school?
Washington
Was
School.
it Washington? Oh, so you started, you went 1 through 12
Mhm.
at Washington School?
Yeah.
And graduated in
5.
56.
So what year you weren't part of the first group to go over to Stillwater High School?
Well, actually, what happened was in 11th grade, I decided to go to the military. Parents didn't have a lot of money, and I thought I was of age at that time to maybe help out. So I went to the Air Force. I joined the Air Force.
Were you 18 or did they have to sign for you to?
Well, I
Fibbed a little
back
bit.
then I fibbed a little bit.
Okay. That happened, I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, back then I fibbed a little bit and got by with it. And it was probably the best thing that happened to me at my early age.
So at the 11th grade, you would have been 17, 16, 17? So you didn't finish, you didn't actually
Right.
graduate?
Right.
Did you go back and do your GED?
No.
Not that you needed it,
No.
you've
no,
done just fine.
No, I didn't. And I had a chance to finish it all up and in the Air Force. They had a college credit type thing in the Air Force. But being that young, I thought I kind of knew the ropes at that point. And it didn't bother me much at that time.
Why Air Force? Had an uncle or a brother or something?
Well, my brothers. I had a brother in the Army. I had two brothers in the Army, three brothers in the Army. All my brothers except one was in the Army, and one brother was in the Air Force. And I remembered that because it seemed like he was home all the time from the Air Force. You know, he was stationed like in Enid and close places around, you know. And I thought, well, I'd like to go there. I'd like to do that because I still want to be at home, you know. And I wanted to kind of be at home, so I thought the Air Force was something that I would want to do.
Had your brothers served in World War II?
That I don't remember.
I mean, they were older, so.
Yeah, that I don't remember. They never talked about it.
So they may not have.
Because I was so young till I wouldn't have remembered it, you know, at that point anyway, you know. So.
Well, while you were in high school, were you involved with sports?
I was. I played basketball, baseball, no football.
Did school have football, or you just didn't play?
Yeah,
Didn't play?
they had football, but I was so small. I mean, I was very small, very, very small when I was in school, you know. So football just didn't, I didn't fill out enough of football. But I was threatened because it was so few kids, you know, that was going out for sports, till they needed everybody for the football and basketball to make the team. So I went out for football. Well, actually, it was for wearing the shorts and not the whole football gear.
Mm.
But as soon as it was time for the whole gear, I quit. And I remember the coach telling me that you can't play. If you don't play football, you can't play basketball. And I said, I can't play football. So I quit, and I went to the typing room. I started typing, you know. But as young as I was, I knew that that I was good enough to play, or I was one of the numbers that was going to have to play basketball. So it didn't bother me much, but I do remember him telling me that if I didn't play that one sport, I wouldn't play the other. Of course, I got to play, you know, because there were so few kids.
What position did you play?
I played a forward. I was pretty athletic. I could jump good. Not a great shooter, but I could jump good and everything. So it was.
Was the team very good?
Yeah, we were very good.
Oh, really?
We were very good. We had good players. We had really good players. A few, but we had good players.
Where would you have to go to play a game?
We would had certain places that, you know, we would go. It would be like Cushing, Stroud, Wellston, Pawhuska, Perry, you know, just Wellston, did I say? But I don't think we ever went to Enid. I don't think we ever went to either, that I remember.
Yeah, we went to Eno, cause I rode.
Okay,
The Huska's quite a ways from here.
it was probably one of the longest drives.
Right.
Was it a bus? A school bus?
It
that
was a
you
school
went on?
bus, yeah,
So did Washington have its own school bus?
yes,
And were they always African-American basketball teams
yes,
that you played against?
yes, yes. And that's why we had to go to these different places, you know, to play. I don't ever remember playing against a white team. Or,
Didn't play Stillwater then?
no,
Or was it Stillwater at that
No.
time? But
no.
did they have a girls' team as well?
No, I don't think so, that I remember. I don't remember girls playing then. So,
Well, would the baseball team go to the similar places?
same.
Same schools?
Well, it might have been a little different for the baseball, because I remember going to Perkins and playing, and those kids at Perkins were very athletic. They were very strong. We used to say that they were country boys. Because, you know, it was farm time. They worked on the farms and stuff, and they were so much bigger and stronger than we were, you know.
But did you beat them?
No,
No?
And so there was an African-American school in Perkins as well?
no. That was the baseball that we played, you know, that we, I guess, maybe practiced against pretty much.
And so there were black and white players playing together for baseball.
No, we didn't have. But we would play white teams.
Yeah.
We would go and play
For baseball, but
for
not,
baseball,
but not basketball.
but not basketball. Yeah. So. Yeah,
Different times. Huh?
different times, very different.
Well, in school, like in the 10th, 11th grade, did you have a favorite teacher?
I did, and my typing teacher, and I think that's why I went to typing. She was very pretty. I mean, she was gorgeous. I mean, she was just out of, oh, I could stay in her classroom all day. You know,
Do you remember her name?
I don't remember her name. I tried to think of her name recently, and I don't remember her name.
Do you have any idea, Gloria?
The only one I know, we have two. The only one I remember is Miss Keys.
No, see, it wasn't Miss Keys.
That was the last one.
It wasn't Miss
It
Keys.
was the last one, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
she was a younger
Right.
teacher, and you don't remember her
I
name.
don't remember her name.
I don't remember her name
Did you make an A in the class?
yet. I did. I did, and learned how to type.
So you weren't a hut and peck.
No, I mean, I was hunting and pecking, you know, for a little bit there, but I started kind of going through it pretty good.
Were you the only guy in the class?
I think maybe. I think maybe I was. Because everybody else was kind of playing this, you know, sports, the football at that time, you know. So I want to think that I might have been, maybe one other guy, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah.
Well, did they have, well, let's back up a little bit. Cafeteria, do you remember the cafeteria?
Yes,
Good food, bad food?
good food, very good, very good cafeteria worker. She cooked. What was her name? Ruth Barnes. Was it Ruth Barnes?
And what would a typical meal be at school?
God, I don't remember. I remember milk because I liked it. I mean, we got milk. We got cartons of milk, small cartons of milk. But the other foods, I don't quite remember.
Homemade rolls, probably.
I don't know.
Remember the meatball and spaghetti?
Gloria, I really don't remember anything but the milk.
Not even dessert.
Not even dessert. Not even dessert. But, you know, I still love milk, you know, so. That was the only thing I thought, but the food was good, I do know that, you know, but I don't remember what the menu was.
Well, were you close enough to walk home for lunch if that was an option?
Yeah, I was only like a block and a half from, we lived about a block and a half from the school.
But it was more normal to stay in school for lunch?
Yeah, well, you know, actually, I went home pretty much for lunch. I didn't stay, you know, once in a while, my friends would talk me into staying. But I would go home because Mom would have lunch, you know. And then plus she was a country and western, I mean, she just loved it. So I would go home every day at noon and listen to country and western music with her for the whole hour. That was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. And I look forward to it. I mean, when the bell rang for lunch, I mean, didn't have time for anybody else. I was headed home. I was headed home so I could listen to the country music.
Just listen, or did you dance?
Well, you know, little kids, you know, you kind of get around a little bit, you know. But I just love to hear the you know, the country sing.
Was it a Stillwater station that had country music?
Well, probably.
No, it was Oklahoma City.
Was it? I don't remember.
Oklahoma City, Tulsa,
I don't remember what station it was,
We
but
couldn't
she had it on.
We couldn't get the station in Stillwater. For some reason, it was on the AM, it would be staticky, especially during the daytime.
I don't remember.
Well, if you liked music that well, did you play an instrument?
I did not.
Did she?
No.
No. Just like listening to it.
No, just like listening to it. My dad played the guitar. He was good at that, but
Sing in the church choir? No.
too bashful. Oh, I mean, I was extremely bashful. I mean, I just.
Well, was church an important part of growing up?
It was.
Which
very much
one
so.
did you go to?
Very much so. We went to Church of God in Christ. It's on the corner of.
What is called Lawson Temple now.
Yeah, Lawson Temple. It's on the corner of 11th and Hester.
Okay.
I mean, that I went to church a lot. I mean, I went to church, you know. They were saying every time the doors open, we were there, you know.
Your mother insisted, or you just liked to
well,
go?
I did. Well, she went,
So you must.
so I went. I mean, I was there, you know.
Were there baptisms in the church?
It wasn't. No, baptism, I was baptized in a pond.
Right up.
In a pond.
Right up where?
Right out here on Perkins Road where Walmart is, that little thing right there in the area.
I don't remember.
That's where they baptized.
I
all the churches.
don't remember where it was, but I know it was a pond. You know, me and my buddies went out. We didn't know much about what was going on, but we was following each other out in the water. You know, so
How old were you at the time?
I don't know, probably 8, 10, maybe a little bit younger.
Well, where the church was, what was around it? Were there other businesses around it or houses?
It was houses, pretty much. It was a neighborhood church. It was pretty much houses were around it. And I think Gloria had her grandfather had a kind of a hotel, wasn't it? Cafe.
Barbershop, beauty shop.
Yeah, barbershop, beauty shop, yeah. All that was in the neighborhood, you know, and then Haskins Grocery, I think he had a place just right across the street from the church.
And Haskins was African American?
Mm-hmm.
Across from the church, that was Freeman.
Freeman at first.
Right, Freeman.
It was Freeman at first.
And then-
Oh, that's right. Freeman, it was
Freeman
Freeman
first,
across the street.
And Haskell down on.
Well, that's right, let's see. On 12th and, it was on 12th and Hester.
Right.
Was Haskins,
Right.
wasn't it? Okay.
And then Video Barbecue right across, right next to the park.
When you, even back as far as you could recall, what was the condition of the streets in that neighborhood at that time? Were they paved, bricked, gravelly, dirt
Pretty much
roads along that 12th Street
pretty much.
corridor?
Yeah.
And were there any paved sidewalks?
No, no sidewalks. No, just grass where it could be grass and dirt roads all over that area.
And was it that way over most of the Stillwater area, or particularly just in the neighborhood?
Just in the neighborhood, from what was it, 9th Street south, Duck Street,
No, 10th Street south. The pave came in after.
well, see, we
That
we
was,
didn't go past 9th Street. I mean, 9th Street, it was segregated. It was really crazy. It was segregated on 9th Street. Blacks lived on the south side of 9th Street. Whites lived on the south side, on the north side of 9th Street, the same street.
but that was when after integration came in.
Huh?
That was after integration came
No, it had to be segregation.
in. No,
That's it. It was-
you remember when
You-
Lorraine and what's her name? What's that husband's name?
Martin?
Martin was staying there.
That's my street.
Right, but that's the street. That's where it started, because you know the whites used to live across the Caucasians used to live on that in that house where you all used to live, where you live now.
No, Martin and Lorraine lived in the house that I'm living in.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking before that.
But you could go up to 9th Street. You could go to 9th Street, and no blacks lived
On
north on 9th Street. All the blacks lived on the south side. Where Mount Zion, I don't know if you know where Mount Zion is.
Yeah.
Mount Zion side, right there,
Yeah.
south, were blacks. Blacks lived there. The north side of where Mount Zion, of 9th Street, then whites lived on that side.
And so you pretty much just didn't cross the street.
And it just, it was, yeah. Yeah, that was, I mean, it wasn't any trouble, but you just didn't live that side, from what I remember. I could be wrong.
Right.
What did your mother say not to go across?
My mother never told me anything about not going anywhere.
Right.
My mother never once, I didn't even know we were segregated.
Right. We didn't.
Personally, I never knew it. Because my friends that I played with were white in the area that I lived in. So, I mean, my mother never said, no, you can't go play with that kid, so I never knew. I never knew segregation was even going on.
So there were people who were white who did live north or south of 9th Street.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Say from Duck Street, the Library Street, south, then there were black and whites in that area, but more whites than black. Okay. And what's the next street over west? So most of the blacks lived on West Street.
Mrs. Bailey sometimes, I'm so sorry. Mrs. Bailey talks sometimes about a park that was maybe past 12th Street around 13th. Do you remember the park?
It was.
And have any memories that you
It
can
was.
describe
It was
about it?
past 14th. It was all the way down.
Right.
It was down. If it could have been a 15th Street, it would have been on 15th Street. 15th Street, I'll use 15th Street, but Duck Street and West Street would go to that park.
And do you have memories of playing there? And
Oh, yeah.
what
All
sort of
activities.
things did they have there?
All active swings, merry-go-rounds, just, we had a lot of, probably the things older, but a lot of the things that they have now. You know, slides, that sort of thing. So, but
Or would you go swimming somewhere?
we would swim in the pond. We would find a pond and go and swim in it, you know. And they had a swimming pool,
The Crystal.
plunge,
Yes, okay.
crystal plunge.
That was during your youth.
Yes.
And could you go there if
Couldn't
you
go.
wanted to?
Couldn't
You
go.
weren't allowed to go.
Couldn't go. I had later on, I don't know, at the mill, that's where the crystal plunge was. In some parts of the mill off of 6th Street South. And we wasn't allowed to go there, but later on in the years, I have a nephew that was a singer in a band, in a white band, and he could go. And I never forget, we would go and look through the fence and see him singing and wishing, man, wish we could go and get in that blue water like that, you know. But couldn't, and didn't even cause any ruckus about it, you know.
Just accepted it.
Just accept it.
Did you ever wonder, like, why can't I go into the pool?
Well, yes, you know, wondered why, but I don't know. You know, just knew we couldn't. And the older group told us we couldn't, so we accepted that. Yeah.
Other places like the theater, was that the similar situation?
Same way. Same way. We had to go to the balcony in all the movies, theaters.
And you remember that?
Yes. Yes, I remember that well. And we wondered why we had to go in the balcony. You know, why do we have to go in the balcony? And I talked to some people after I've been working here and so forth. And said, you guys had the best seats. You know, going in the balcony, we wanted to go down on the main floor. And so we always wanted to go in the balcony, you know. But then we thought we were being really discriminated against because we couldn't go downstairs, you know. It was so wild.
Were the restaurants the same way on Main Street? Were there places you
Yeah,
couldn't
pretty
go?
much. Pretty much, yeah. You have to, you'd have to kind of go in the back and get your food out of the bag, you know, and so forth. But that was accepted also, because when you know, I guess people before you had to do that, so that was the trademark, you know, that's what you did.
Well, then integration, all that happened about the time you were joining the Air Force. So you weren't here to
I was not.
witness some of that?
I was not. They had sit-ins, lunch counter sit-ins and stuff. I didn't know, I don't know what year it was, but I didn't know about that. I didn't.
Well, they were talking about integration about the time that you were deciding to join the Air Force. Did that play into your decision any?
Not
That
at
you
all.
Didn't want to go to?
Not at all. Not at all. Because like I said, I didn't know much about segregation, so, you know, it didn't really affect, you know, I wasn't affected by it. It didn't, my decisions wasn't based on that.
Based financially mainly?
And mainly finance.
Or were there other, like, role models in town that you looked up to at that age,
Oh, yeah.
besides your mother?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I had the janitor of the school,
Mr. Shepherd.
Jerome Shepherd. He was he kept me in line. He gave me a job in the evenings after school to help him empty the trash and all this stuff. Loved it. Didn't make any money, didn't make much money, but then it didn't take much money.
Right.
And, I just couldn't wait till school was out to go and help him.
And you do that till supper time, or
Yeah,
roughly?
yeah, probably hour, probably a good hour. And then we would.
And if he kept you in line, did you need to be kept in line?
I think I did. I could say no, now, no, I didn't, but I think I needed to. I needed that. My dad passed away when I was 12,
Okay.
so I needed a father figure, and
He was it.
He was one of them. He was one of them.
Any
And,
others?
Oh, he was probably the main one. It was probably a few more that's not standing out as much.
Your basketball coach?
Well, he was, you kind of didn't like him a whole lot because he kept you on the straight and narrow, but it was just on the court, pretty much. Because, you respected everybody. Then any parent could chastise you. Any parent that would see you out of line, you would get it there. And then if they didn't take you home, then they would either call or let your parents know what had happened. And you just kind of stayed on the good side because you couldn't hide being in the small neighborhood from everybody else.
Everybody knew who you were?
Everybody knew. So you couldn't get into a whole lot of trouble because you either get it there or get it when you get home.
Well, did the teachers also live in the neighborhood?
They did.
So they knew your parents
That's
really
right.
well that way too?
That's right.
And then at church too, probably?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So,
If there was a particular leader in that part of the community, one or two even, who would you say that the kind of leader of the community would be?
oh, I would say probably her grandfather was one. The principal, the coach, the sports coach, because he coached all the sports. One guy coached all the sports. And it was a couple of more guys that you know, I don't remember the names, but you kind of, looked up to.
The banker or the minister or?
Oh, that I remember, no, not so much.
And I have to ask the barber.
Who was the barber then when you was coming up?
Oh, Morton Johnson. Morton, Lorene, Morton. And I don't remember, I can't remember the guy that was cutting hair. Oh, his name, they call him Big Boy Brown.
Right.
They call him Big Boy Brown. And I remember going in and getting a haircut, and I was so glad to get a haircut away from home, because Mom always cut my hair, cut all the boys' hair, always. I hated it. Oh, I hated it. I got the same haircut for like at least 5 years, the identical haircut. And right now, I won't cut that haircut.
What haircut would that be?
They would cut all the hair off your head. She would cut it all off and leave just a little piece of hair right here. I call it a turkey comb.
Turkey what?
Turkey comb.
Oh.
And I mean, I hated that haircut, and when I started working, and that haircut became a style. And all the kids were coming in, white and black, wanted that haircut. And I refused to cut it. I told the girl that I worked with, I said, you will have to cut this haircut. And I got my haircut with not electric clippers.
The one that
There's a clipper that a hand clipper,
you have to master.
and that's the worst clipper. That was the worst. Because what you would start, I would start here, like sitting up normal, to get my haircut. And before the haircut was over, my head was on the floor. And she was always telling me, well, raise your head up. Well, that clipper was hurting so bad. Because you had to finish your cut before the hair because the clippers would turn the hair loose. So sometimes she'd be talking, and the clipper would stop in the middle of the hair, and then she'd have to pull it out. That stuck with me pretty good. That stuck pretty good.
Maybe that was punishment if you.
I guess. I never thought about it, but that makes sense. That was probably, yes. Instead of my whipping, she said, I'll get him. Wait till his next haircut.
Did she cut the girls too?
Well, I don't remember the girls. You know how girls are. They go next door and get their hair done. They cut each other's hair.
Boys don't do that?
No, now they do, but then they didn't, they didn't know how to do that kind of stuff. And plus the moms wanted to cut their own kids' hair, so every mom cut their own kids' hair. I was never so glad when it was time to go to the barbershop, but I was old enough to go. And I remember the barber telling me, I said, well, how much is my haircut? And he said, I don't care if your head is long as from here to Utah, it's going to cost you 25 cents. And I never will forget that.
And how often would you have to go?
Oh, I don't know, seemed like every 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, if you didn't go, your mother would do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why you were working for
I think
the
so.
janitor, so you
Yes.
could pay for your haircut.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
And so were there, was that a hangout for the older men in the community, the barbershop?
Oh, no. For the older men.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. When you went in the barbershop, you were as quiet as a mouse. You didn't say anything. And, barbershops, like we were talking earlier, people talk and talk and talk. But that's the grown-ups. That's the grown-ups conversation. You didn't chime in at all. You sit there like a little scared rabbit until your haircut was done, and then when you finished, you left. I mean, you just got up and
Paid you 25 cents.
paid you.
And then go home and say, Mama, look, I heard this at the barbershop.
No, I wouldn't even tell that because it's neighborhood now.
Right.
You couldn't go back and tell what you heard
Right.
in the barbershop because it's still in the neighborhood. Why your kid, my kid came home and said this. No, you didn't. You might have told your friend, your age group, what you heard, but you didn't hear anything when you went home to your parents. You didn't hear anything.
Well, if you lost your father when you were 12, what would your mother do for entertainment herself? Would she visit with friends or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. My mom was kind of she she didn't have a whole lot of friends. I mean, she had friends, but she was probably busy with me. And she didn't go visit a lot. She just kind of stayed around the house and did her chores and this sort of thing.
She didn't remarry?
Nope.
Nope, didn't remarry.
And did she live here for the rest of her life?
Yes.
And if you don't mind me asking, just because we're trying to identify the way some different life events worked during that period of time, do you recall your father's funeral?
Yes and no. I really don't, but I remember an incident or after he passed away, I remember I smelled this flower or the blooms of this flower or plant or what it was, whatever it was, you know. And I remember that smell more than I remember his funeral. And, you know, once in a while I'll go in places and I'll smell that smell and it'll bring that memory back. But as far as the funeral itself, you know, I was 12, but I was a little 12. I was just...
Well, was it at the church or did they have visitation at the house?
It was at the church. And then they would, when someone would pass away, they would bring a wreath and put it on your door, on your front door, to let you know that you were in mourning.
Well, what did the wreath look like?
It was a purple wreath, never will forget it. And I saw it on a few people's house, you know.
And how long would it stay up?
It would probably stay up maybe, well, till after the funeral.
A few days?
A few days. Yeah.
And where is he buried?
He's buried at Fairlawn. Yeah, he's buried at Fairlawn. In fact, all of my brothers and sisters, except, well, my mom's buried at Sunset. My youngest sister is buried at Sunset, and then everybody else is buried at Fairlawn, except one, and he was living in Kansas, so he's buried in Kansas. Which,
So all of them stayed around Stillwater except for the one?
well, they all left, but they were all bought back after death,
Okay.
except the one in Wichita.
So when you left, you were 17-ish. How long were you in the military?
6 years.
6 years. And then came back and did what?
Well, I was in for 6 years, but my most interesting part was going to Japan. I went to Japan for 2 years, and that was really, if it was left up to me, if I was in charge of the Air Force, I would be living in Japan right now. I didn't want to come back. That's the only time I left home and didn't want to come back. But it wasn't up to me, you know, I had to come back home. But then I came back and I really wasn't going to work, to be honest. I was just going to, I thought, you know, I had all my work done in those 6 years. You know, just my thinking. And my brother got, he was, I think he had some kind of business of detailing cars. So he got me a job there. And then after that,
And that was in Stillwater?
that was in Stillwater. And then after that, it seemed like my next job was, I don't know, maybe working for the city. Stillwater. And then after that, of course, I went to school for barbering school. Yeah. And then I started cutting hair. No, before that, before I went to after I worked for the city of Stillwater, I started to work for OOHRP. And I was a fry cook in the hotel. And I worked there probably a couple of years. And then that's when I was approached about the going to school for the barber license.
Well, tell us about that story.
Over again.
My first time.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I was working for the city, working for the, yeah, I'm thinking the city. I told you guys either the city or the union. I can't remember which one I told you, but anyway, I was working at one of the places, and Earl Mitchell, Dr. Mitchell, approached me and asked me if I'd go to school to get my license to cut ethnic hair. And he said, we'll guarantee you a job at OSU if you go to school. I said, well, okay, I probably can do that for a couple of years. So I went to barber school, quit my job, went to barber school every day for 6 months, and got my license. And of course, doing that when I was going to school, they sent me to school to cut ethnic hair. Of course, I already knew that. I already knew how to cut ethnic hair. So I was going to learn how to cut Caucasian hair, in my mind. So I go to school, and after maybe, 3 weeks or so, I found that I was the instructor for ethnic hair at the barber school, in which I was just going to get licensed, because they didn't know how to cut ethnic hair at the barber school. So I ended up being the instructor, and of course learning how to cut Caucasian hair at the same time. It was very interesting, very. So, and then I would, went through that. I got my license and came back to OSU. And it was like 5 or 6 barbers in the shop at that time. And when I went in there and saw it was so many barbers, and I said, I can't make any money here, and I worked, I said, well, I'll give it a year. And
It's been a long year.
it's been a long year. A long year. So I'll give it a year, and at that time, not many blacks came into the shop. So my chances of cutting hair was really slim, but I knew how to cut Caucasians' hair, but they didn't know that I knew how to cut Caucasians' hair. So I was right in a rock and a hard place right there, So I sat around and for a little while, and the manager of the student union, Winslow B., which I knew through my brother, which worked at the hotel. So I kind of knew him. So he came down one day and he said, well, Ken, can you cut my hair? that good feeling just came all over me. I mean, I was just so thrilled, you know, that somebody was going to get to see me cut white hair. And I said to myself, if I ever get a chance, to cut white hair, I won't have a problem. So I gave him a haircut, and I bet you it wasn't 4 days after that. Because everybody, when I'd ask the white kids if they wanted a haircut, they said, no, I'm waiting on this guy. I'm waiting on this guy. And everybody else was white, so they said, I'm waiting on him. So after I finished, got BU, then I was the guy that was in demand. I said, no, I'm waiting on Ken. I'm going to wait on... What a feeling. What a feeling. What a great feeling, And of course that 1 year kind of went into 2. And then, they start making everybody, then everybody, the word got out that I was here. And this was both black and white then, And so that was the...
But was it mostly students and people on campus, or was it town
Pretty
people?
much both.
Both?
Pretty much both. And it's the same way now.
And how much did you charge back in those?
Seemed like we charged $7, I think it was, when I started. It was like...
Well, it increased from 25 cents.
Yeah. What an increase. What a raise. Yeah, it was either 5 or 7. I don't remember.
And what's it today?
It's 15, and we're only 15 to 17, just depends. And we're only that price because of the students. Because, we could very easily be charging $25, $30 a haircut. Mm-hmm. And I know I could probably get it, But just to stay down, just to have the students coming in, we're at 15 to 17.
And the reason you decided to stay here for so long?
It's because Stillwater's my home.
Okay.
And I didn't have anywhere that I wanted to go. So that was one of my excuses for staying so long, was because now you're at home and I have a job. So why go off, and I've had chances, I've had real opportunities to go different places. I had a lady to come up from Atlanta, and I don't know how she heard about me, and she came up and just literally begged me to go to Atlanta to be a platform artist.
I don't know what that is.
Well, that's to show. That's to cut hair in front of audience. You have a audience out, and to show how to cut hair. And it just depends on the size of the audience. I mean, you could have a whole auditorium, or you could have 6, 8, 10. And she begged me to go to Atlanta to learn how to be a platform artist. Well, the thought was good. But I'm still kind of bashful at this point right now. You probably can't pick that up, but but I'm still, and that's what kind of killed that deal. And I had a couple of others. I've had barbers try to negotiate me, I'll give you more. I'll give you if you come here, So it's been pleasant after all that. It's been really.
Well, at some point, did it become your shop?
Well, like now,
Mm-hmm.
Earl Mitchell and I have it together.
Okay.
We're in together with it. but I never wanted it, and my wife, I told her I was going to buy it, and she knew she was going to have to be the secretary. Immediately, no. And she was the secretary. She worked till retirement at OSU at what was it? Life Science.
And so she was a Stillwater girl.
Yeah, she's a Stillwater girl.
How did you meet her?
And
what was her name?
I met her, well, she was here. She's from here, from Stillwater. She's a
Now
Stillwater
she's
girl.
still living.
No, she passed away 7 years ago, 8 years ago. But she, you know, it's really a long story, and that's a long story. But anyway, I knew her all her life. We grew up together.
And what was her maiden name?
McGlory.
Ah, okay, that's right.
McGlory.
And what was her first name?
Helen. Mm-hmm. And so we married in. I'm glad I'm the only one that's having to go through this. 65, maybe.
After you got back from the,
Right. Yeah.
after Japan?
After my military, I think like 65. You know.
So when you were in school, did you two date?
We didn't. You know, I kind of liked her, but no, I was kind of the. I was kind of the boy of, you know. No, we didn't date. No, we didn't date. And it was like, you know, after she had, 3 kids between that time, you know. And then we just got together and married, and then we had one son together.
And where did you get married?
We got married in Guthrie. I was not a guy that was going to get married.
Right. That's the truth.
I was a guy that wasn't going to get married.
That's right. You said that's it. That's
So I told her, I said, I'll marry you before the year's over. So the year was passing a little faster than I thought it was, you know. So it came December 31st, and she said, the year's almost over. I said, what are you going to do? I said, well, maybe we can put it off a little while. She said, no. I mean, she's strong. This is a strong woman. I mean, we're talking about a strong woman. I'm so happy I married her. But she said, let's get in the car. Everything is closed in Stillwater. It's 31st. You know, everything's closed. So we get in the car and we go to Guthrie. And I'm hoping nothing is open here. Courthouse, went to the courthouse, it was closed. I said, all right, I got it made now. I don't have to go. So she asked somebody on the street, says, is the justice of the peace around here? They told her what it was. It was the end of that story. Yeah, we got married December 31st.
That was before you went to barber school then? Before?
Yes.
Just before? No.
Yes.
Was it before?
That was
Okay, yeah.
before. Mm-hmm.
And so you had one son, and what's his name?
Ronald.
Ronald. So when you, in that year, when you all were courting then, I guess, right? So what sort of things would where would a couple go at that period of time? Like now, of course, you've got night spot and the movie? I mean, what would you do? Where would
Well-
you go, like on a date or whatever?
Well, we really didn't go much on a date. She was really a Christian. She was really a church lady. I mean, you know, that was what she did. I mean, in traveling and everything, she was church clerk. She was choir director. She was just everything that had to do with church, pastor's aide, and all this, you know. So she was pretty much busy with that, and I would kind of catch a ride every once in a while. But as far as me, you know, guys are always gonna find a place to hang out. But as far as dating and going places, not many.
You know, she had 3 children, probably limited what she
Yes,
could do too.
That's true. That's true, and with a job and stuff, so. Yeah, and she worked for OSU pretty much the whole time. She was it was a grocery store in the area, the Haskins grocery store, and she ran that pretty much until she started working at OSU.
Well, how did you know Earl Mitchell?
You know, we were talking about that, and I met Earl. Seemed like I met him. He was in the neighborhood with the students for some reason, and they were boycotting OSU Student Union, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that what I was saying? And they were the black kids. And they went to the president's office and they put a wreath on the door of the president's door. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Did you ever hear? You haven't ever heard that? And anyway, they kind of got expelled from school a little bit, and they went in the neighborhood, Stillwater neighborhood, South Stillwater. And I think he was kind of maybe the counselor or something for Afro-Americans students, so he was in that area. But anyway, he came by and I was cutting one of my kids' hair, and he saw me, and I didn't pay much attention, and you know, a couple of years later, and then he asked me if I would.
You left an impression.
Yeah.
You weren't torturing your
I
kid, were
wasn't
you?
torturing my I wasn't torturing my kids.
No.
I had electric clippers in, you know.
Just checking.
Or I'll say electric. Well, I had a pair,
Oh.
you know, but I was really. I think that was my gift in cutting hair. Because when I started cutting hair, I had a pair of clippers and a double edge razor blade. Do you know what I'm saying? What I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
The razor blade, and I could fold that razor blade in my hand, between my fingers, and give the line around the head. I can't even do that now. It was amazing. I couldn't believe I did that. I actually did that. But I'm just rattling on here now, so.
And didn't cut anyone.
And didn't cut anyone.
Did you give anyone one of those hairdos? Ever?
I still didn't have that.
Still
I still didn't do that. I still didn't do the haircut. But it was,
Well, has styles changed a lot since your first few years?
you know, hairstyles has changed. Hairstyles is back. Hairstyles has changed. Hairstyles are back. A lot of the haircuts are now, the only thing, the difference in haircuts now and then is the name.
Right.
They'll come up with a, well, can you do this kind of haircut? This, yeah, and they'll have a name for it. Well, it was just a haircut before, you know, and now it's easier because you see, you know, what kind of haircut you want. Or now we're saying, have you got your haircut on your phone?
Show me.
Show me. And they do. Most of them do. They'll pull the phone out. Yeah, this one right here. So it's much easier, you know, than them trying to explain it.
I was looking before, like they talk about fades.
Yes,
Low fade,
Yes.
high fade.
yes, yes. And they have names for them. They call them. A guy came in the other day and he said, "I want a blowout fade." I said, "What is that? What kind of haircut is that?" You know. And these haircuts come from either movie stars or sports guys, you know, and they'll pull up a Denzel Washington haircut or you know, something, but they, you know, it's amazing.
Do you get creative?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't, you know, it's not a haircut that's on a head that I can't cut.
One thing that I think that you're probably especially known for seems to be the customer service. So is there someone in Stillwater that inspired you customer service wise? Because, you know, that's not necessarily always a skill that a lot of people do so well.
No, you know, I think that was just kind of a gift. I really can't think of anybody that I could actually say that that really inspired me. I mean, you know, I mean, several people that I watched cut, but not to take much from it. But
Well, you were the only black barber at the time you started working
Yes.
here. Did others come along, or were you it for a long time?
well, I was it for a long time.
For a long
I
time.
mean, for a long time, you know, I might have said this either to y'all, but a lot of the black guys cut each other's hair, even now. So it's, you know, everybody's got a pair of clippers now.
Do you have that picture? And so that was your very first year. Now there's another gentleman, is there another gentleman in there? Who is the other gentleman who's African American?
He was the shoe guy, shoe shine man. I mean, we had the full works. He was the shoe shine guy.
And he was stationed in that shop?
Yeah.
Was he in the barber
Yeah,
shop?
it was his. Yeah, he had a 2-chair thing, and it was so amazing. That guy.
This says shoe shines.
That guy. He was a guy that you just respected. You know, he would sit up in his chair, and you know how students are. Students would come in and making all this noise and going through all this stuff, you know. And when they come in and he wouldn't say anything. He'd say, and that was it. That shut it down. He never had to say anything to any customers. He just, and they'd look up at him and he'd be looking at them. He even had me scared.
Now,
So-
did he live over in our neighborhood?
He lived in Langston.
Ah,
He lived in Langston. He drove back and forth from Langston. And the guy, he lived to be 103, or something like that. And I saw him probably maybe a year before he passed. And we were really good friends. I learned a lot from him. He was a guy that I really looked up to. I didn't think about it at the time, but he was a guy I really looked up to.
And what was his name?
Henry Andrew.
Andrew or Andrews?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Henry Andrew.
This is why I worked here.
She did. She worked in the hotel for a while. Yeah.
Where was the shop at that point?
The shop was in the middle of the building where the post office is.
In the base,
In the basement.
in the basement?
In the basement. I've been basement twice, first floor twice.
Well, which one was the better location?
First floor, of course.
More
That's
foot-
where all
more
the
foot
traffic.
traffic.
That's where all the traffic is, you know. So,
Well, anyone famous OSU wise that you've cut?
oh, you know, yeah. Smiley, the president, was a regular customer and just couldn't wait to get over here. Yeah, you remember Smiley?
I do.
Okay. Smiley was, in fact, he's the one that had that picture.
The article?
Yeah, he's the one that had them do the article. And, of course, a couple football players, Thurman Thomas, Harley Dykes, Bill Sanders came around once in a while, but he didn't get haircuts. You know, he was just a natural guy. You know, he just didn't get haircuts. And then it was a basketball coach, Mike Patel. He pro basketball player. I didn't cut his hair, but he came in and we visited and stuff. So I've met quite a few interesting people, I'll say.
I'd say you've heard some interesting stories too.
I've heard some good stories.
And you were telling us that it's the fellas who pour their hearts out at the barber shop.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you know, this is a place. This is a place that you get it all. I mean, all. Not just, you know, picking around and this sort of thing. You get it all in here. And, you know, you get it, you hear it. When you lock the door, you lock it in here.
The confessional seal of the
You see what I'm
barber shop.
saying?
Yeah.
You don't take it out and go discuss it anywhere because you're gonna get some more tomorrow. So your head can only hold so much. Your brain can only, you know, retain so much. So, you know, they tell, but people will come in and they'll tell, I mean, stuff that you wouldn't even think. But they come in and they relax and they just.
And do you give them advice or just listen?
I listen, pretty much. And that's the best way. If you want to keep a customer, you don't give them advice unless they ask, and you give them very little, because all they want to do is they want to just let theirs go. You know, so.
And you don't take it home with you?
You don't take it
leave
home.
at
You
the
leave it,
door?
you lock it in here, and you don't take it home. Because some of it would really bother you pretty good. I mean, as far as, no, you look at a person, you think, not really. So you listen. You lock the door and lock it in here. Hope it goes down to one of the drains and go on, you know. At least that's the way I am. You know, I don't hold it against them. It's theirs.
Do they
They
expect
just
you to
shared
remember
it.
it the
They
next
just,
time?
yeah. Huh?
Do they expect you to remember it the next time?
Usually it doesn't come up unless it's a, you know, kind of a sporting event or something like that. But personal stuff, it
Bring it
doesn't,
up.
they don't bring it up anymore. They just venting. They're just venting. They just need to have somewhere to vent. And this is a good place to vent. It's, you know, especially in my year.
Did they
You-
teach you that in barber
No, they
school?
didn't. I just picked it up. And I found, man, all these people are telling me all this stuff. Because, I mean, I have a PhD in here, too, just listening. You follow me?
I follow you.
I mean, I have a PhD in here. In fact, I have a customer that gave me certificate. Dr. Murray. It's back here on this.
Doctor of Human Behavior or something.
Dr. Murray. Dr. Murray.
Well, what's the toughest part of the job? Most challenging part?
I think dealing with so many personalities. I think that's probably the toughest, is dealing with so many personalities. You have so many.
You have to please them all or they don't
And pretty much. But I think it's people's personalities that you have to deal with. This is probably the hardest thing. Everything else just falls in place.
So a typical day, you'd get here about what time
Well, now I'm coming in about 10.
and stay till?
Stay till it's over, and usually it's 5. And most of the customers that come in know the closing time.
Monday through?
If not, I'll let them know once they're here, or after they didn't know, so after that, I close at 5. So you need to be here at 4:30.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday. And I book half-hour appointments.
Mostly men? Do you ever do women?
I do women occasionally, but
He did mine. I was
she was
telling him-
telling me
I had a-
that I did
I
her
had a
hair,
boy
but you know, I
haircut,
was
like 20 years
been
ago.
1.2 million. I told her it's been 1.2 million. I wouldn't remember her, but she told me, and I was so surprised. I'm happy to be surprised, you know, that I
He's
did.
the
You know,
tamer of, what are those called? Things that.
Cowlicks.
Cowlicks. He's
Cowlicks.
the cowlick tamer.
I am. Now that I thought I was. I'm a bad hair cutting guy. It's what I mean is, if you got cowlicks or you got problems, you know, in your hair, your hairlines and stuff, I can really deal with it. And she just, you know, I really can. I mean, I really, and that's, you know, I think that's pretty special, because a lot of people work around that kind of stuff and leave it and not do much with it. But for some reason, I can get that.
You just got the gift.
I get, and you know that, and that's what I say. I say it's a gift. I don't think I'm that good. You know, I don't profess to be that good, but it's a gift. And it just, I don't look at it and say, well, I can do this. While I'm working, it comes to me and what to do with certain things. But I can, you know, I used to have a lot of women that I would cut, and they really liked me to cut their hair, you know, especially for the shampoos and stuff. I'm not bragging, but I give the best shampoo that you
Good
would
massage, huh?
Oh. And I was telling her, you know, and the reason why I give a good shampoo is because it feels good to my hands. So I want my hands to feel good, and while my hands are feeling good, your head is feeling good, you know. I have a lot of customers that come in and they'll say, well, you know, Ken, you know, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I really just come in for the shampoo. You know, you have to make my haircut look good for my wife, you know. So you know, I get 2 in 1 there, you know. But
It's hard standing on your feet all day.
you know, a lot of people I've worked with, they still ask me, say, Ken, do you have any problems with your legs or feet? And I really don't, and I think it's because of my weight. You know, my dad was skinny, I'll say skinny, you know, thin, and I've always been this size or smaller all my life. I've never weighed over 190 pounds, ever.
Now I had, I'm glad that you brought your dad back up again, because I meant to ask. You said that you'd heard he worked for the WPA. Was that here in Stillwater?
Yes.
And so do you have like any knowledge of any of the projects that he may have worked on?
Sidewalks.
Well, I thought, one that I did hear of, and that's the place from, is it Lewis? Is it Lewis to Roxy Weber?
Uh-huh,
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right there on 9th Street.
mm-hmm.
The brick that are in there,
Yes,
the brick, you know
Uh-huh.
what I'm talking, and they've taken some of that out of there down towards the UPS. But that part that I heard that he worked on,
laid some of the brick.
yeah, some of the brick of that.
And
Yeah.
another place is in front of the school, where the sidewalks were in front of the school,
The what school?
Washington School. It's already, the signs down there, they got WPA.
Oh, uh-huh.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Right.
Do you have any knowledge as to whether he may have worked on the original library building, which was a WPA project?
I don't know. That's the only that's the only place that I heard that he may have
With the
laid
brick.
the brick. Uh-huh.
Now, did you all, when you were young, ever go to the library? Were you welcome there? What would have been the Stillwater
The
Public
one on
Library?
6th Street?
Yeah.
Yes.
The one on 6th Street?
Yes, we went there.
Oh.
One where the dental place is.
That's where the dental is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I never, no. No, I can't remember. What was the library? What was the library?
It was somewhere else too.
Before there?
Yeah,
Hmm.
across from the courthouse.
Okay, I know there, but was it a library before that?
Before that, no, the building was originally built as a library,
Was it a library?
and it was a WPA project.
Okay, okay.
But there was a library somewhere else, but I don't know.
I want to think it was. I want to think it was.
Yeah, I think I've seen a picture. It was a white
Yeah,
white wooden building.
Close to
before.
it, there was, yeah,
I
that was
don't remember.
very early. So I wanted to know too, because we haven't gotten this yet from a fellow's point of view, so you're in like middle school years, what have you, like your early teens or 10, 11. What's the day of a kid that age like? A typical day.
That's a tall order.
That is a tall order because,
During,
well,
during school or during summer?
Well, that's a good question, and apart from school, of course, because you've got school, maybe like a weekend, like a Saturday or maybe a summer day when school was out.
well, we pretty much, yeah, it was kind of a few things, but you would either go swimming in the summer,
In the pond?
in the pond, or you would go to the neighbor's house and we shot a lot of marbles. Can you relate to that one?
Yeah.
Okay, we shot a lot of marbles, and that was really big time because you got in trouble a lot because all the time you go home, your knees were out of your jeans, crawling around.
And we shot
Wear
birds.
your pants out, brand new pants with the knees out. The pants that you nowadays you pay $300 for. But that and maybe the movies when you got a little bit, when you got extra dime or nickel or whatever it was, But that was pretty much it. It was kind of a neighbor. You kind of didn't go many places.
But we also had a program during the summer. But we had it at the school before they put it in the recreation center. Where we have art and we hike.
That missed me.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I just missed out on that. Maybe I was doing other things.
Did you have a bicycle?
I had bicycles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had bicycles. Yeah, we had
Bicycle
bicycles.
ride.
Yeah, we had bicycles. that was a must, you know, and,
Well, you skinned your needs that way too if you had wrecked.
well, yeah, but we were pretty good on the bicycles. We were
On the dirt roads?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that's how you learn how to ride, was on dirt roads. You didn't have any paved roads to ride on, pretty much, you know. So.
Well, what would holidays be like? Like Christmas, Thanksgiving, July 4th? What would those be like?
Well, Christmas and Thanksgiving was probably
It was family.
more, yeah, pretty much family. Pretty much family, but I don't remember much firecrackers until I got older, you know. But I didn't remember many firecrackers or those things. But I do remember after I got up a little older, the firecrackers, because we would go to the football field and shoot the firecrackers.
At Couch Park?
No, it was a football field where the kiddie park is on Hester and 12th.
Close to the
Are you
church?
following me?
By where Strickland Park is?
No.
Kinda.
12th Street.
12th Street.
12th Street.
Used to be a park
Down
there.
here where the new hospital,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Used to
the
be
new
park.
part of the hospital. It'll be east of there, coming back.
Oh,
right,
Southern Woods.
Right, Southern Woods.
Okay.
Southern Woods.
I don't know why I
yes.
said
Where
Strickland.
the-
Yeah,
where the-
Southern Woods.
Yeah,
It
so
was
there was
a-
a football.
It was a football field there.
Right.
It was a football field, yeah. It was a football field where the recreation part of it is right there, you know, where the tables and the softball field is, right there, baseball field.
Football for the school or for
the school.
for Washington School?
Washington School, A&M College.
Now, that's one thing Miss Bailey said was that she recalls the OAMC team coming to that football field there to play. Do you recall that?
You mean the college?
Mm-hmm.
It was A&M College then.
Well, yeah.
And then we played football out of Washington School, played football there.
I don't remember that one. I don't remember. I don't remember A&M coming there. I'm not saying that. You know, I just don't remember it. I don't remember A&M coming there. They may have. It was a nice field, so.
Because he was right across the street where I lived.
I don't remember the A&M people. Why would they? I mean, you know, I just don't
That was on the
understand.
football field at the time.
Well, Oklahoma A&M had basketball, football.
Well, it could have been that the Louisville was being worked
But
on.
that was-
I don't remember. I can't
that was
argue that
in the,
point because I don't know.
That was in the,
I just can't.
40s.
I don't remember. I
that
don't
was in the
remember.
40s.
Do you remember, like, what was the biggest mischievous thing that you remember that you did as a young boy in growing up in Stillwater?
I don't think he got in too much trouble. Because he was too scary.
Well, and if you did get in trouble, how would your mother punish you?
Yeah, well, you know, make me go outside
Oh, but
and
get your
not
haircut.
and not be around her. You know, that was punishment.
That was
for me.
time out, huh?
That was real punishment. If I had to go outside and not be around her, watching her cook and stuff, you know, I'm a good cook too. You know,
You're a good cook.
I'm a good cook.
What's your specialty?
Well, fried chicken. I can do pretty good.
You don't
But
remember
I
any
bake.
big?
I bake.
But you forgot
Yeah.
about y'all's barbecue place.
Yeah, well, yeah, we had a barbecue house. My dad, my dad had.
Sold barbecue?
Oh, he sold barbecue. Very good,
Very good.
very good, very good. You know, a lot of that stuff, it's not right. Stuck. If I hear it, then I can kind of match up with it, you know. But yeah, we had a really good for years. He had a good barbecue business.
Had his own recipe for the sauce.
I think so. And I have a brother, he just passed away, my last brother just passed. He was kind of like my dad. He thought nobody could barbecue but him, you know. He had his own recipe and all this. I never caught that one. I never got in on that barbecue. I can't do barbecue, so.
I'm glad that we've gotten to talk about a lot of different things around OSU's area and information about a Mel's perspective, because this is the first interview we've had with a Mel for the project. And I don't always want that we should have to come back to racial issues,
Right.
but we can't, avoid it.
You can't avoid it. You can't. I mean, it's part of.
Do you mind if I ask you a couple
Not
more
at all.
questions?
Not at all.
So, Mrs. Bailey said the same thing. A lot of what you said is that you didn't really even realize that you were segregated.
Right.
And then when we would talk a little bit more, she would recall a few incidents. Do you recall any incidents of just of a malicious nature, of anyone being treated badly by people who were white in Stillwater?
Not at all.
Or remember being called names or
Not at all.
anything like that?
Not at all. I mean, maybe I might have been sheltered,
Almost.
but I might have been sheltered, but I don't remember any incidents. I mean, that I can really point out, except not being able to go swimming at
Yeah.
Crystal Plunge. That was about the toughest thing, but as far as, no.
And there was a KKK presence here, more particularly in the 20s. Did you all ever hear of anything like that after you were born?
No. They had a couple sit-ins at restaurants and things, but I don't think it was Stillwater. I don't think it was the Stillwater.
Leading the charge.
You know what I'm saying?
Community
The
members.
the residents of Stillwater. I think it may have been somebody that came in and had Stillwater to participate.
They instigated it.
Yeah, I didn't want to go that far, but that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Stillwater didn't just do it on their own. Somebody came in
Right.
and
And,
instigated it.
right.
But I don't remember, I really don't remember any incidents. Somebody would have to come up and tell me, well, Kenneth, you remember this, but, I don't remember anything.
And then I have never asked you, Mrs. Bailey, either, but for example, like the community, the neighborhood west of the college is like College Gardens, and then there's like Elk Grove and a lot of different places you read about in the newspaper. Was the community we're researching, was there like a little township name for it or anything for the neighborhood?
Not that I know of.
No, what most people would direct people to
Was black.
would be the Ville. And
That
the
came-
Ville is short for the village. So, and I don't know why.
It's when we don't know why that.
We don't know
someone
why.
had
It was, but it was always, they always would say the Ville.
When did you hear, what do you remember what year you heard that?
I don't know, but I heard it all. I heard it all up till now. Well, it's not so much now because
It's dispersed.
I don't
Because
know.
I've always heard Blacktown or when I was small, I heard, well, where are they didn't say Blacktown, they said, where are the blacks located?
Yeah, well, that
We
was
didn't have a so-called name.
Mm-hmm.
It just that they were.
it was the Ville. It was they call it the Ville. And
So
when
like
you
when you
heard
were
the
young.
Ville, then you knew it was black area, the black area, you know, but as far as, you know, well, it wasn't anything. You hear some people that's, you know, from small towns that have those communities, and they'll come in and say, well, where do the blacks hang out, you know? And, you know, all over Stillwater. You know, we hang out all over Stillwater, you know? But back a few years, you know, when you wanted to find out, it was called the Ville.
Because there's really not a neighborhood with a high concentration of African Americans any
That's
longer.
right.
People are dispersed throughout.
Yes, that's right.
About what time period would you say that dispersal happened?
I think, I mean, let me say it like this. When I noticed it was during the, when urban renewal came through.
And that
But
would
there,
have been in the
but again, there was blacks living in other places in Stillwater also. Before that time.
Well,
We didn't know
urban
that.
renewal they came in and they did made a few changes,
Right.
you know, and
The 70s, the 80s?
I want to say probably the 70s, you know, yeah, probably the 70s, yeah, 70s, 75, somewhere there.
Where were you living about that time when you first got married then?
I was living South Stillwater.
So still in that general
Still,
vicinity?
yeah, same, yeah.
And you were there at the time of the 56 and 59 flood, not the 59, you would have been in the military
Yeah, I was in the
then, right?
military.
Were you there
I was-
present for the 56 flood?
I was in a flood, yeah.
Yeah, he was in a flood.
I was in the flood. I was there. It was crazy. I'm laying in bed,
50.
and you know I don't know what happened, but I was turning over or something. My hand went in the water.
That was a big flood though, Kim.
Yeah, that was a big.
That was a big flood.
That was a
But we
big
had
flood.
floods before, because I can remember one that we had in the 50, I think 51, 52, something like that, where the water came up out of the creek. But because we used to live down in the area, in the same area. It would come out of the creek, but it didn't come to us. It would get behind the house, but it didn't come to
I
our house.
remember that.
Huh?
I remember that.
Right.
I remember
And so
that.
what did you all do with the floods? I mean, if it was all the way up in your bedroom and you
You
could
get out of
feel it.
there.
Well, the you know people would come with boats.
Right,
The fire department or rescue.
right.
You know, emergency would come and get you out if you were that much in danger. But if you had dry ground or
Right, you could get out
you
yourself.
could get out yourself.
But where would you stay while your house was flooded?
They stayed in the churches.
That is a good, that's a
They
good
stayed in the
question.
churches and what is that building over there? Where you play basketball, the hall over there on
Oh, the armory,
Armory.
the armory.
So did you
Okay.
end up staying there?
I don't remember a lot of times that we did have to leave home even. You know, I mean,
See, we didn't have
it came up.
Okay, what happened is, where we lived, the water didn't come up as quickly as it did in the west side. The west side, the water comes up.
Well, the creek was closer, I think,
Right,
too, you
yeah,
know, so.
right. And it's lower down there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's lower down, because we kind of we kind of gradually go up a little slant, and that might have kept the water from us. And we were right there close to a creek.
Well, do you remember Martin Luther King and JFK's
I do.
passing?
I do. I used to remember where I was when it happened, but I thought, wow. This is,
I was at home.
I just didn't. It was shocking. It was a very shocking incident, you know, and I don't know. and the Kennedys also. I mean, the Kennedys were, it was almost like the Kennedys was hope. You know what I'm saying? It was like the Kennedys, if they got in, it was hope. But who knows? We never know. Yeah, you know. But. And then Martin Luther King seemed like most of his stuff was kind of in the South. Really, I mean, I'm not saying he didn't affect everybody, but a lot of his was in the South.
But he wasn't as much as the influence here.
Right. Right.
What about Malcolm X? Any
No, I don't remember.
following
No,
in this
not,
area?
not in this area.
Not in this area.
Not in this area. No, it could have been maybe like Oklahoma City or the larger,
Tulsa.
yeah, the larger cities, you know, would pick that up, you know.
And probably a bigger population.
Yeah, right, because, you know, you know, just a few people that were in Stillwater, you know.
I didn't even know there was a Malcolm X. Really, I didn't.
Yeah, well, it was. It was. I didn't have a lot to do with it, but it was. So, we're running out.
Now I'm just thinking, 1 year really has turned into a long time,
1 year.
sitting here.
When you from.
Are you planning to retire anytime soon?
Well, you know, I'm asked that every day. That's the question every day that I'm asked. And my answer is, I'll work as long as I'm feeling good. As long as my legs will, you know, and as long as I'm having fun. When the fun's over, the legs go out, then, you know, I'm done. But I love it. It gives me, it gives me something to look forward to each day. It's getting up and having somewhere to go. And I watch a lot of people that retire that 3 years, you know, they're not with us, you know. So, and that's not my reason for that. It's because I like what I'm doing. I like people. I like to be around people, you know. I think I would really miss that if I wasn't around people. I look forward to getting up. Some days I don't want to come, you know, but once I'm here, it's a whole different thing. I mean, I enjoy. I think that's the main thing as far as work, is enjoy what you're doing. If you enjoy what you're doing, you just keep on doing it.
So you're 103.
Well, until I'm 103. Until I'm 103. You got it. You good. You're good. That's true. That's true. That's true. It's I just, you know, I really, really like it. And people, well, you're not gonna retire now. I'm doing okay.
And your
I
customers.
said, what do you? They said, I said, what does people do when they retire? They said, well, they go play golf. They go do this. I said, they're doing what they want to do, right? I'm doing what I want to do. This is my retirement. This is what I do rather than go play golf. Make sense?
Makes sense. Do you still listen to country western?
I still do. I sure do. I sure do. I sure do. I sure do. I really do.
Do the Texas two-step?
Yeah, well, I can't do a lot of dancing with it, but I can sing with them.
And tap that foot?
Oh, I can sing with them. I get it going. You know, them country singers come on. Well, I'm right there. I'm right there. Yes. So I still love it. And I think I'll always will, because I grew up with it. It's kind of bred it into me, you know. And I love it. I can hear I go to some of these stations and I'll have the country music on, and some of my friends will get in trouble. What are you listening to, man? I said, you know, first of all, this is my truck. You don't want it? I'll stop. You can
Or
get
slow
out.
down.
I'll stop or slow down. You can get out.
But that's all we
But I'm
listen to.
listening. I'm listening. You know, I really enjoy it.
Do you have a favorite song?
I don't until I hear it.
Until you hear it.
You know, I have several, but I just can't. I mean, I can't even tell you the name of any songs. But when it come on, I can sing it. I can tell you who's singing it and all this stuff. But just asking me the question now, I don't.
Well, it might be Johnny Cash.
Well, Cash was good. I like Cash. I like what's the guy the guy that smokes the pot?
What's his name?
Hank,
Huh?
Hank.
No,
Willie
what's the
Nelson.
guy?
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson. That's what I know him by.
Blue eyes. Crying in the rain.
Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson. Yeah. I mean, all those guys. And then some of the older ones.
Right.
Some of the back older
back.
ones. They're gone. They're gone, but they still play the music.
Still playing.
Lori Clark.
Yes, all them guys. Oh, Hee Haw was one of my favorites. Oh, I couldn't wait to Hee Haw. I was so mad when they took that off. And I'll even watch it now. You know, they sell the movies, the DVDs things. I'll sit and watch those until I get tired of them because they play them over and over, you know. And but I'll sit and watch them Hee Haws. I mean, I'll go home.
Saturdays at 7.
All right.
But,
Oh,
but it's a lot of laughing. And
But you know, I couldn't. I often think that I should buy that, but then I probably wouldn't listen to it or watch it as much because I'd have it accessible. So I'll just wait till it comes on TV and get the infomercials. You know.
We've covered a lot. Is there anything else you want to ask, Stacy?
No, but you've all ended all of them so far with.
I've got one more question.
Okay, you go ahead.
Do you have anything else before I ask my last one?
I don't. No, I don't have.
A highlight or a favorite?
No.
Memory
Did you get my world picture?
We'll get it when we leave.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
my last question then.
I'll take it. I'll see what I can do with it.
When history is written about you, what do you want it to say? How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a guy that does everything or anything that he can for his fellow man, and that he didn't have any enemies. Liked everybody, loved everybody, and that's pretty much. That's pretty much.
You can give a great haircut.
Does the best I can. Yeah, but that's, you know, just love everyone, and just want to be remembered as that guy.
A good listener.
Good listener, very good listener. Yeah. Was that?
That pretty much wraps it up. So thank you for
Thank
talking
you.
with us today.
Thank you.
It's been great.
I didn't know it was going to last this long. I thought, well, they'll just come and ask me a couple questions and then they'll be gone.
No.
I didn't
no.
know. It was good. I enjoyed this